Alright guys, today I will be showing you how to change transmission on a 2006 Lexus GS300. So these cars got a common issue with a messed up transmission, the ones in the US. And you go to the dealership, they tell you need to replace your transmission, which I call bullshit, because your solenoids are the one not allowing your transmission to shift. Mine was solenoid C761 getting stuck. So I did not realize the problem until after I purchased my new transmission. The problem is your solenoid probably not getting enough electricity, or the solenoid itself is not reading the right ohm, which is from 15 to 25. But I did not check on that, and it is too late to do anything about it right now. So I got my new transmission in and I already put it up. I didn't complete the job yet, so I decided to take a video and help you all out. But before you really start on a big project like that with a complicated car, you need to be either a smoker or you need to buy you something to smoke. I bought Black and Mild to help me not stress and not messing up. I'm not a smoker, but I believe I'm addicted after this project. So first mistake I made, I took off my intake manifold thinking I can gain an access to the top bolts of the transmission, but that did not work. That's a bad idea. You cannot gain an access to the transmission bolts from behind the engine. So that was a waste of time. You need a lot of these so you can take clamps off, which is I'm going to be showing you in a minute. Main sockets you need would be 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, and 14 millimeter, 17, and then 7 on 8, I believe, for the crankshaft. So you can turn that to take the 6 bolt of the torque converter off. You can pull the transmission out without taking the torque converter, and that's what I did, and I believe that's okay. A lot of people will tell you no, you need to pull them both out at the same time. I don't care, I got my job done. Alright, so now going under the car. So let's start from the back. Removing the exhaust and the differential. O2 sensors, both of them need to be out. And then there are 2 bolts on each exhaust manifold. So yes, you do need to remove the driver side exhaust manifold. The only reason you need to remove that so you can just get the starter out. That's the only reason, just to give you a little bit more room so you can get the starter out. But you need to remove the shield, which it looks like that, and you need to remove the differential. You need to remove these. This is 12 millimeter, and then on the back these 4 bolts needs to be removed, and I think they're 12 millimeter, and for the exhaust they're also I think 14 or 12. They're not as bad as I thought, but it's going to be pain. And then these 4 over here, which is the transmission mount. that comes out by the last almost. But anyway, no, actually you can take it when you are ready to take the bolts out of the transmission. And I believe they're 9 bolts, 14 and 17 millimeter. So not the ones on the side are not too hard to get an access to. The ones on the top, and yeah, the ones on the top are the hardest. And I don't know if you can see that. But so to get an access for the ones on the top, you need a lot of extensions. So I used like maybe 5 of them, 5 extension, and you would run them almost from the back of the transmission all the way to there. So yeah, you need a good quality extensions because you're gonna have to fight that to come out. And then another complicated part is the starter. And when you remove the starter, there is a stupid black piece of plastic needs to come out, and it is like literally just stuck. You gotta have to feel it with your hand, and it's stuck on the bottom. Without removing that plastic piece, you will not get an access to the 14 millimeter bolts of the torque converter. And this plastic piece should look just like, let me get it out. Just like that. It took me probably like hour to figure that out. I had to bend some tools thinking that's the way to access the bolts of the torque converter, because I did not realize this black piece was by the starter and needs to be removed so you can get access to the bolts. Once you have the starter out, you're ready to take the bolts out, and then you also need to have some towels, because once you pull the transmission out, you're gonna have fluid all over your face, all over the place. And then what else? Plastic covers on the bottom all needs to be out. And for the transmission I got, since it is imported in Japan, the sensors are in the opposite places. So my speed sensor, this one in the US transmission, comes on this side. So I had to cut the wire and extend it. I used Walmart wires. I don't care, it's gonna do the job. This one should fit fine, which this one is the one that connects to the menu, to the solenoids. And on the other side is the worst side. On this side, we got, this is the position, gear shift position sensor, I think, something like that. You are going to have to take your old one and replace it with the new one, because the connection will not fit. And it got two 12 millimeters holding it, this one, and then there is one on the side, and then a bigger bolt. I forgot what size that was, but once you remove that bolt, you need to spray it with W40 and leave it for hours. So you can, and then hit it with a hammer on the sides and then slide it out. I cracked mine on the side, so be careful. I hope mine will work. But yeah, I also had to extend the other sensor on this side. Oh, it is right there. because in the older transmission is coming on the back, so that they just put them the opposite way. I don't know why they did that. And then they told me to use the new one. I don't know why. This is the coolant. These hose is going to be pain to remove, but yeah, you have to. I just took the whole thing off when I got my transmission out. And then I did not use transmission gel. I just put a wood, tied it with wires, and then I just did it. I think the transmission weighs about 250. This is not a good idea. I had someone help me, but this was pain. So get you a transmission jack if you want to get the job done clean. And then, yeah, I think that's about it.